other name. Jesus, Jesus, my heart will sing. No other name. Jesus, Jesus, my heart will sing. No other name. Jesus, Jesus. Oh, I'm running to your arms. I'm running to your arms. The riches of your love will always be enough. Nothing compares to your embrace. Light of the world forever reigns. I'm running to your arms. I'm running to your arms. The riches of your love will always be enough. Nothing compares to your embrace. Light of the world my heart will sing. No other name. Jesus, Jesus, my heart will sing. No other name. Jesus, Jesus.
Can you see it? God is doing a brand new thing. Your old life is gone. The old ways are a dead end. Can't you see it? There is a hope that's brewing. Are you ready to take it to the world? God promises that when He's around, everything starts fresh. Mercy and love and every new chance that you need are here. God's forging a river of life and a new way of living. The old way is gone, the new way is here. God takes the wastelands of difficulty, regret, and sin and creates new seasons of beauty, restoration, and rebirth. He is the way, He is the life, and He makes all things new, including you.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Good. I'm glad you got the hint when the music started. We're trying to do a song before the welcome video so that you're all here for the welcome video. We are excited to have you this morning and want to invite you to stand and worship with us. And happy Mother's Day to all the mamas and all the babies' mamas and the babies' mamas' mamas. We are thrilled to have you together with us this morning. Babies' mamas' mamas. Lord help us. I did. Are you hurting and broken within? Overwhelmed by the weight of your sin? Jesus is calling. Have you come to the end of yourself? Do you thirst arms are open wide. Forgiveness was bought with the precious blood of Jesus Christ. The altar, the Father's arms are open wide. Forgiveness was bought with the precious blood of Jesus I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. And all my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest nights. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. My life laid down, I'll surrender now. I'll give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. My life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I'll give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh,
spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. For I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me.
Sing it out.
Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves at 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. You have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. You have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves at 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Yeah. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. No shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. No wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down,
You're welcome to stay standing or seated if you'd like, whatever's comfortable for you. I'm just going to close us out in prayer here. Oh, God, thank you so much for bringing everyone here this morning to celebrate Mother's Day with us. We want to recognize all of our moms. God, we're really thankful just to see all these faces here. We're building, and it feels new, and it feels fresh and exciting, and it's all because of you and all the work that we're trying to do here in our community, and so we're just so thankful. We also want to recognize, God, that it is not an easy day for everybody. For some, it's actually quite sad, and we just want to be able to wrap our arms around those people and celebrate, but also mourn with the ones that we need to mourn with. So I will close this out. I just pray that Mike's message resonates with all of us this morning, and it is in your word, I pray. Amen.
Have arrived.
100% breastfed, straight from the source.
Drug-free pull birth, dolphin assisted.
Oh. Well, you push. We cuddle.
Yeah, cuddling is bonding.
Helicopter mom, 12 o'clock.
Must be mommy's day off.
Oh, that's sexist. What? You wanna go? No.
Oh, disposable diaper. Well, apparently we don't care about the environment.
Oh, look, it's crunchy granola mom.
It's getting real.
I wonder what it's like being a part-time mom.
Stay-at-home moms.
I wonder what they do all day. Mani-pedis.
Looks like some moms are too lazy to breastfeed.
Someone came with their nipples blazing.
Oh yeah? Well, I popped during conference calls.
Hello.
It's not all about the breasts.
Actually, yeah, it is.
No, it's not. No.
It's about.
But it's not.
You want a piece of this? Oh, you want a piece of this? Well, I'll show you some screen-free parenting.
Great.
Nibble up, ladies. It's go time. I think. Yeah, go.
I'll be back.
Let's do this! Oh, you guys. Gosh.
Got a pop there. That's a formula commercial from like 12 years ago, and I've watched it 100 times, and no matter what, it makes me cry every time I see that. So, welcome to church this morning, and happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. So say it back. Yeah, it's a greeting. Okay, so there we go. I want to thank you all for being here, and today, we don't just celebrate moms, although it is Mother's Day. We want to celebrate everybody. Specifically, we want to celebrate the feminine, right? And so we're going to get into that a little bit today. What is the feminine? How does God tie into what the feminine is? Why do we usually only talk about God in the masculine? And today we're here to celebrate those who are moms. And some of you, I just want to recognize, man, we tested this before church. And it doesn't matter what, it still keeps giving me. All right. My back pocket again. That seemed to work last time. I don't know what's going on. I apologize. I want to recognize, Shelly mentioned it, today is not an easy day for everybody. And so some have chosen not to be moms. Some have lost children. Some of you have lost your own mothers. And I want to be respectful of all those things. But I hope all of us can come together today to celebrate the feminine, right? The thing that maybe the person that taught us that stepped into that role of mom. So if today is one of pain for you, I don't want to exclude you. I want you to know that you are loved here. And if today is one that often reminds you of pain, I hope today maybe we can shed some light on a different way to think about Mother's Day, to celebrate the feminine, to celebrate the moms in our life, but really to celebrate everybody of this aspect of God that we don't honestly often talk a lot about. And so when I say mom, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Give me some descriptors. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say mom? Love? Somebody shout louder. Caring, nurturing, right? These are all the things that we think about. Learning, right? I remember when I was little, one of my first and earliest memories of my mom was sitting on her lap and her reading a book to me. For some reason, I don't know if it's true or not. I should ask her this. Care Bears comes to mind. Remember Care Bears? Like I had Care Bears. Actually, I have a Care Bear up here that somebody gave me years ago somewhere that reminds me of that memory. And so when I say that, I want you to picture whether it's your biological mother or maybe somebody else who stepped into that role, I want you to picture that person. Now this morning, I was wrapping up working on my sermon, and Katie texted me, and I brought a picture. This is what Katie woke up to this morning. I was like, I know it's there. It says, God has chosen you, Mom, happy Mother's Day, with one of our little baby Jesuses that are out there. Isn't that adorable? It made me smile, and so I asked Katie, I'm like, can I use that in the sermon this morning? She goes, absolutely. I have so many people that have come into my life that have played that role of mother. Like I said, I have my biological mother and so many great memories from my biological mother, but I have other people who have stepped into that role when my biological mother maybe couldn't be there or wasn't there or whatever the situation is. And I want to celebrate all of those roles this morning. I had one of my friend's mom, her name was Hope, my buddy's mom, her name was Hope. And back in the early to mid-90s, for those of you that have been alive long enough to remember those times, how many of you had to write papers in high school? How many of you had to actually write papers in high school? Okay, so I grew up in a high school era where we were shifting from writing to typing. Now, while I did have a typewriter in my house, how many of you had a word processor? Nobody else? Stacy did? We had a word processor? Okay, so a word processor was like, I don't know, it was kind of like in your computer, but it had a screen with one line, and you would type it in, and you would read it, right, making sure it was right, and you hit enter, then it would print that line. Anybody else have one of these? Okay, so we were moving from that, which was like a digital typewriter, to Microsoft Word or whatever the earliest version of Word was. I'm not exactly sure what it was. And so this is probably like early 90s, maybe 93, and I had, a 15-page research paper that was due. And so over the weekend, my buddy had a computer. We were poor. We did not have a computer in my house, and he had this really cool thing called Microsoft Word. And so we're over at his house, and for those of you who don't know, there are these little things. They were black, and they were kind of floppy, and you'd put them in the computer, right? And this is how we would save things. And so I'm doing this paper, and I got all my information together, and I had notes written out, and I typed it all up, right? And it got to the end of the night, and this is a Sunday, and it's due on Monday, because that's what you do with papers, right? You wait till the last minute to write them, right? My daughter's in college. Do you do that? Yeah, she's like, yeah, absolutely. She's going to do it tonight. Perfect. It's finals week for all of you that have kids in college. And so I'm working on this paper, and we go to try to print it. We're having issues, and the computer glitches and shuts down. And guess what I had not done? Yep, saved it. I had not put the floppy disk in, right, to save it on the computer. And so I lost a 15-page paper like that. And this is like 9 o'clock at night, right? We're getting ready to go to bed. And I remember Hope stayed up with me all night long. And literally all night long to the 6 o'clock the next morning when we had to leave and go to school, she helped me rewrite that paper. And she taught me so many things in life. I have another person, Lori, who came into my life when I was about 12 years old, that taught me how to budget money, that taught me to be loving, to be strong and secure in who I am. And I have people like Teresa come into my life. And her and her husband had a very difficult time in their marriage, and she taught me what it meant to be compassionate, to love. I think often when we're talking about our moms, or the people who play that role in our lives, we're talking about people that taught us things like compassion and love and empathy. Now, that's not always the case. I also learned those things from my dad. But today we want to celebrate those things that we normally or traditionally identify as or with the feminine. And yes, God has a both masculine and feminine side, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But we want to celebrate all those things and all the things that moms taught us. Now, I have a top 10 list of the things that my mom taught me. And I'm going to see if these resonate with any of you all. These are the first things that I remember that my mom taught me. My mom taught me the importance of prayer. Anybody else? Did your mom teach you how to pray? Anybody else do that? Nobody else? Who taught you how to pray? Your pastor, I hope? Your Sunday school teacher? Okay. My mom taught me how to pray. She would say things like, you better pray that comes out of the carpet. Right? Anybody else? Yeah. Okay. How about this? My mom taught me to appreciate a job well done. She would say things like, if you're going to kill each other, go outside and do it. I just finished cleaning. How many of you were outside all the time as a child? Like, my kids are inside all the time, right? And I know I sound like an old man now, but my mom, the house would be clean, and then you were out. You were not allowed to come in, and then she would hose us off outside because we'd be covered in dirt and mud from riding our bikes around and playing in the dirt before we came inside. Okay. She taught me about anatomy, right? If you don't stop crossing your eyes, they're going to freeze that way. My mom, she said, it's not true. I don't think it's true. Anybody's eye stick? Okay, good. That's not true. All right. She taught me how to be logical. She would say, I'd ask her questions. She would say things like, because I said so. That's why. You still use that one? Does it work? No, not at all. Okay. She taught me about irony. She'd tell me to keep crying, and I'll give you something to cry about. Some of you still use these, I can tell, right? Or how about the weather? She's come up to my room, and she says, this room looks like as if a tornado came through it. Anybody else use that phrase? Or a hurricane? You still use it? Yeah, 100%. I'm going to call her out real quick. I'm not going to say which daughter. I was in my daughter's car yesterday, and I'm pretty sure it was in a flood. I didn't say it was you. You're outing yourself. Okay, it was you. She just had kids in there. It looks like, yeah, Okay, so she taught me about the circle of life, right? She always constantly told me that she brought me into this world, and she has every capability to take me out of it. I'm sure a lot of you heard that. My mom taught me about envy, right? She was always constantly reminding me that there were starving kids in... See, even I use it on my kids too, right? That I should be grateful for what I have. She was the first one to teach me about genetics, constantly telling me I was just like my... Yeah, you know it. And the last one, my mom taught me about justice, and this one is more true than maybe any of the rest of them. She taught me that one day I will have kids, and they're going to turn out to be just like me. We joke about those things about our moms, but I feel like all of those things, my mom and the people who have played that role of mother in my life have said those things. And we joke about that, but moms, they really do. They teach us some of the most important things in life. And today I want to celebrate those things. I want to be inclusive, but I want to celebrate all those things, often those things that we attribute to the feminine. Because we often talk about God in the masculine. Now, I have a favorite quote about moms. This is from Taneva Jordan. She says, a mother is a person who, seeing that there are only 4 pieces of pie for 5 people, promptly announces she never did care for pie. I think moms teach us a lot about sacrifice. I don't know about you, but there are so many women who have come into my life that have shown me what sacrifice looks like. And I think to celebrate that is to celebrate what and who moms stand for. Now, today is kind of a standalone sermon, a little bit, but we're starting a new series. We're officially launching it next week called Inside Out. It's May is Mental Health Month, and so we're going to be talking about our emotions and our feelings, because we all like to do that, right? Yeah? Okay, good. And a lot of those conversations, I didn't have a lot of emotional or feeling conversations with my father. So for me in my life, it was always the women who were in my life, when I was growing up at least. Now as an adult, I have plenty of men friends who we get together and we do talk about our feelings and emotions. But one of the first people that taught me to explore those things was my mother. And so we're kicking off kind of next week, but also this week. It's called Inside Out. How many of you have seen the movie Inside Out? It's a great movie. How many of you have seen the second one? Just means people. We're going to have a movie night here. We're going to watch the first movie. And so we're soft launching it today because to celebrate moms means to celebrate the feminine. And the feminine, let's talk about the feminine and the masculine, okay? Actually, before we do that, let me go with what our spiritual practice is this month and our tangible practice. How many of you are aware of our summer lunch program? Okay, we started it in 2017, I believe. We've partnered with people like School District and Sandy's Restaurant. Sandy's Restaurant has kind of taken over the meal portion, and Bobby is going to be here the last week of this month to come talk about that. But I wanted our focus this month to be on summer lunch. Katie, will you stand, please? Katie has graciously volunteered. She's helping us do a fundraiser because I always tell people I'm not great at asking for money. It makes me uncomfortable. We don't pass an offering plate, right? These are things that I don't like to do, but I know it's important. And Katie came to me and said, listen, I've helped out with other fundraisers. We're going to do an online auction. And so in our summer lunch program, we serve 10,000 meals to children in 5 neighborhoods. We provide 100 backpacks full of school supplies. We provide about 250 toiletry packets that include things like soap. Like last month, we did a drive for these, right, to bring all these things in. And then we also provide supplies, stuff like clothes, shoes, socks, underwear, coats, all those other things throughout the year. And so Katie said, let me help with fundraising. And so she's doing an online auction. And you saw it in the email this month, but there is a letter out on our resource table. As you walk out of our sanctuary, to the left, you'll see things like these little poker chips. And I'll remind you all, this is an invite tool. Take these, invite your friends to church. You'll see your little baby Jesuses that you saw in the picture that Katie's daughter had put on her little thing. On there, you'll see this letter, and it's a donation letter because we're asking you to go out into the community, to your friends, to local businesses, and to say, hey, we're doing an online auction, and it's all going to be via cell phone, right, Katie? Right? You get the app, and we're going to have an online auction. My wife and I are donating. We have a couple of timeshares. We're donating one of our timeshares for you all and all your friends to bid on to raise money towards our summer lunch program. Katie is heading it up. Kylie, my daughter, is assisting her, and the letters are on the table. So my ask this month is that you go out into the community, and if you've ever been to an auction, it can be anything from a timeshare or to like a little basket, right, full of things that people can then bid on. There's people in the past, we've gone to jewelers and they've donated rings or necklaces, you know, the kind of thing. So really any and everything. And you can take a letter with you today and you can give that to them, and that is tax deductible to them because we are a 501c3. So anything that they donate to us that we then auction, they can write that off, okay? So I want to encourage you when we're talking about that, if you want more information, grab a sheet. It's also in our monthly email this month. So I forgot to say that at the beginning, but I wanted to remind everybody that we are doing that this month. That auction takes place. When are we doing it, Katie? July 10th. It's on the paperwork, but I forgot to write it down on my notes. So we're trying to have all the stuff here, though, by it's in the paperwork, maybe June 21st, something like that, next month sometime. Okay, so grab those things, bring them in. Now, the other thing we're doing, so that's our physical, what we call our tangible mission for the month. We also have a spiritual practice. It's something that we do every month that reminds us of why we're here, because we're human and we forget why we're here. And so out as you're leaving, you're going to see the back of a chalkboard. You're going to see a bunch of Post-it notes on it. On that same table outside of our sanctuary doors, you're going to see a bunch of little Post-it notes with some pins. This month, our practice, the thing that we're going to do is we're going to do shout-outs. Now, who knows what a shout-out is?
I do.
Steve does, because Steve did one. You write down, he's like, you want to give a shout out to somebody to thank them for something that they did. I was reading several of them out there, and one of the shout outs was to Shelly's forehead. And they were thanking her for not having bangs anymore. So that was a great shout out. That's a great example. Now, who wrote that? That's so ridiculous. I don't know who did that. It was not me. Yeah. Sorry, that's a funny one, but there's lots of you who write lots of shout outs. I want to have fun with it, but also it is a practice that we are trying to remember that our words have power and that it is important to be lifting each other up and supporting each other, even if it is somebody's forehead. Okay, so Listen, I had to give her a hard time. It's my job. And so now she's covering it up for me on purpose. Okay, so I want to get back to this. So I reread a book this week by, I write these things down, Maureen Murdoch, called The Heroine's Journey. Have anybody ever read The Heroine's Journey? It is not a book about drug addiction. It is anybody know who Joseph Campbell is? Joseph Campbell wrote the book on the hero's journey, I think back in the 70s, and did a lot of work. And Hollywood takes his formula of a hero's journey. The hero's journey is every movie you've ever seen for the most part. So any movie, whether it's Star Wars or Harry Potter, and the hero goes out and the hero is disenfranchised, is marginalized in some way, often poor or homeless, and they make their way through life, and they've been oppressed by the evil empire. Right? And so they get the band of brothers together, and they go and they destroy the evil empire, and they win, right? And this is what the hero's journey is about. It's very external. And so in the hero's journey of life, Joseph Campbell makes the argument that we all need to be in the place where we can explore what that looks like, but there's something else. That's the masculine hero's journey. And when we think of life, we often think of our lives this way, that there is something to be conquered, there is something to be overthrown, and we love stories like that. I'll be honest with you, I love all the Star Wars, I love Harry Potter, Rudy. You name it, almost every story follows the trajectory of a hero's journey. That's a very masculine thing. Maureen writes this book called, she worked with Joseph Campbell, and she writes this book called The Heroine's Journey, which is the feminine or the opposing view of what life looks like. And she makes the argument that life isn't about overthrowing the evil empire. Because what happens when you overthrow the evil empire? Right, Jeremy said they want to remake the movie. Also true. When you overthrow the evil empire, what happens? Another empire emerges, and we think we have to go then conquer the next evil empire, right? That is what we call a cycle. And it's a vicious cycle, and it's a cycle of violence. And not that there aren't external things that ail us that we need to overcome, but Maureen makes the argument that historically in all of humanity, the divine feminine, right, or the heroine, there's a journey that looks like we go inside. And so the thing that ails us is not outside of us. While we do believe this, right, there are systemic issues that we do try to fight, that we try to lift people up who are in poverty or who are resource insecure. And there are physical things that ail them that we do need to help people out with. But for the most part, the spiritual journey is one where we go inside of ourselves to look inside and say, there's something within me that I need to work on. There's something within me. So we work on ourselves and that we don't let the external influence who we are. We say we know who we are. This is referred to as the heroine's journey, or the more feminine aspect of our humanity. And what I want to invite you into today is that I believe it's a spiritual journey. The feminine is the spiritual journey, and we read about the feminine and the masculine within the Bible. And we read about stories about God in both the masculine and in the feminine. And so while God is often described in the Bible as masculine, right? We use the words all the time, he and him, and I try to be very cognizant of that because God is not fully manifest, right? Because God creates humanity in his image. And who does God create? So his image is what? Is it just men? No, it's men and women. So God is fully manifested when we can understand, when we can respect, when we can acknowledge that there is both a masculine and a feminine side to our humanity. And it's when those two things come together that God is revealed to us. Okay? It's not just all on one side. But we know the Bible was written by men. And so we have this slant, and also culturally, this isn't unique to Christianity, this is all of culture, ancient culture, had this slant towards men because men were the what? The heroes. And so we read more about men and conquering and kings and taking over things than we do about women. But we still do read about them. And historically, the feminine, or the goddess, right? We have God and then we have the goddess, the attributes of what makes up God. The goddess is just as important as the masculine attributes of God. And so I wanted to read Genesis 1:27, right? It says, God is fully revealed when he creates both men and women in his image. And so the Bible has a ton of stories about God, both in the masculine form, that's what the most of it is, but also in the feminine. And today I want to shed some light on some of those feminine nature of God, and how can we celebrate those things, and how can we access those things that are inside of us. Now, this doesn't always follow men and women, okay? We talk about it because we like to think in binary. We like to talk about the feminine as women and the masculine as men. But if we're being honest, all of us have this opportunity, maybe responsibility, to access both of these things inside of us, whether you are a man or a woman, to fully encounter who and what God is. I like to say, I love, a lot of my male friends are able to get in touch with their feminine side, and we can have difficult conversations about our emotions. Because I grew up in an environment where we didn't, it was the 80s and 90s. Men didn't talk about our feelings. Anybody experience that? Were you raised in a house where you didn't really talk a lot about your feelings? And I think it's important. I love it when I can sit around with a group of men and we can talk about how things make us feel. That's something I had to learn as an adult. I had to come to embrace that. And so when we're talking about God and accessing God, I like men who can do that. I also appreciate women who can also be somewhat masculine, right? Who can identify with that other part of themselves. And so we're not talking about gender here. We're not talking about our biology. We're talking about our spirits. And that within all of us, there's both feminine and masculine. And it's when those things come together in harmony and in balance that we can, I think, experience God to his, to God's fullest, right? It's so hard. Shelley and I talk about this all the time, don't we, Shelley? Almost every worship song, God is referred to as a man. But in the Bible, God is referred to as many other things. God comforts his people like a mother comforts her child, Isaiah 66:13. Like a woman would never forget her nursing child, God will never forget his children. That's Isaiah 49:15. God is like a mother eagle hovering over her young, Deuteronomy 32:11. God experiences a fury of mother bear robbing her cubs in Hosea 13:8. In 1 Peter 2, it says, like a newborn baby craves his mother's milk, you should crave spiritual milk from God. Jesus longed for the people of Jerusalem like a mother longs to gather her chicks under her wings. That's found in Luke 13. So over and over again, we have to look a little harder for it, but we see that God is both masculine and feminine. And so we want to celebrate that today and those attributes and to remember those feminine things. Often, not always, but often, the things we learn from our mothers or those who played mother or that role in our lives. Now, while the Bible was written by men, there are so many stories of mothers and celebrating moms in the Bible. From the very beginning, we have Eve, right? Eve was, in the Bible at least, in the story, the first mother that we read about. Now, Eve is also the first mother that had to bury a child that we read about. Sarah, who's Isaac's mother and the mother of Israel. Rebecca, who was mother to both Jacob and Esau, if you know that story. Jochebed, who was the mother of Moses, who saved his life as he was being floated down a river. Hannah, who was the mother of Samuel, who was an Old Testament prophet. Bathsheba, who was the mother of Solomon. Elizabeth, who was the mother of John the Baptist and the aunt of Jesus. Mary, of course, the mother of Jesus. And maybe, this isn't in the Bible, but who's maybe the most famous mother who didn't actually have children that we talk about all the time? Mother Teresa. So I want to acknowledge that while some of these mothers in the Bible, and the story we're going to read today is about a mother who lost her sons, but took on their wives as her own daughters. And it's this beautiful story. Her name is Naomi. But Mother Teresa, who didn't even have biological children of their own, she is the most referenced mother in our culture. And so whether you're here this morning and you have biological children, great. If you've lost children, we want to mourn with you. We want to be there with you. If you've lost a mother and today is a hard day for you, we want to help you celebrate the memory, hopefully the good memory of her. If you've had a strained relationship with your mom, we want you to see that hopefully there are other people that are a part of your life that we can celebrate as mother. The Bible references honoring our mothers and fathers, right? 10 different times in the Old Testament. If you were to read Proverbs, it's Proverbs 6, Proverbs 20. It always says something to the effect of of listen to your father and don't rebuke, right? Or embrace your mother's teachings. There's this idea that moms teach us over and over. In my childhood, my dad, when I was older, taught me how to work on plumbing and cars and stuff like this. But my mom, she's the one who taught me the most important things like love and compassion and empathy. And the Bible reinforces this. Now, I want to read from Ruth today. So Ruth is a very, very small book in the Old Testament. It's only 4 chapters long. It's very short. So if you get a chance to go read it, please read it. And I want to read a part of Ruth's story. So I'm in the first chapter, starting at verse 8. So Naomi, who is a mom, has just lost her husband and her 2 sons in war. Okay, so we find ourselves in this story that this is what's been happening, and so it starts with Naomi, and the reason that Ruth's important is she later marries somebody named Boaz, and it's from Ruth and Boaz that we get the line of David, right, who is Jesus's like great-great-grandfather and grandmother. Okay, so this is significant to our story because this is where we find ourselves. Okay, so after a short while on the road, Naomi told her 2 daughters to go home and live with your mothers. Okay, they're traveling. She's saying, you need to go back to your people. My sons are dead. My husband is dead. Why do you want to spend it with me? And may God treat you as graciously as you treated your deceased husbands and me. May God give you each a new home and a new husband. She kissed them and cried openly. They said, no, we're going with you, and we're going to go with you and your people. But Naomi was firm, and she said, go back, my dear daughters. Why would you come with me? Do you suppose I still have sons in my womb who can become your future husbands? That's a scary thought, right? Go back, dear daughters, on your way. Please, I'm too old to get a husband. Why? Even if I said there's still a hope, and this very night got a man and had sons, can you imagine being satisfied to wait until they were grown? Would you wait that long to get married again? No, dear daughters, this is a bitter pill for me to swallow, more bitter for me than you. God has dealt me a hard blow. Again, they cried openly. Orpah, which is one of her daughter-in-laws, kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth, her other daughter-in-law, embraced her and held on. Now, I like this story. We have a little girl here. Her name is Ruth. Do you know what your daughter's name means? It means friend. It also means one who has compassion, right? And so Ruth, she is the one that has compassion on Naomi and chooses to go spend her life with Naomi and actually is introduced to Boaz. So if you've ever heard the term ruthless, that's where that comes from. It means a person who does not have any compassion or is not a friend to other people is ruthless, because that's what it means to be Ruth. So Ruth and Naomi, in this story, this is trying to teach us that compassion and that love and that empathy and that being there for each other is really, really important. And so she decides to go with Naomi, and she meets her new husband Boaz, and they have kids, and anyway, and that lineage is where we get Jesus from. So this is the part of Jesus's history. Now, I love that. I love that Ruth chose the path of companionship instead of what was safe. You know, I say this over and over again. Our bodies, we want to choose the safest option because the easiest option is, we think, the safest or the path of least resistance. I always say this when I'm working with people in leadership. We will all take the path of least resistance. But the path of least resistance is honestly not usually what is best for us. It's doing the hard thing. It's challenging ourselves. It's challenging those around us. It's the hard thing that actually helps us to grow, to have more compassion, to have more love. And Ruth, in this situation, chooses the hard path. And for us as Christians, or those of you who identify as Christians, or at least our heritage and lineage of what we learn, what's important to our faith, to explore the feminine, it all comes from that line. And it starts with Ruth having compassion for her mother-in-law and for her situation, and for having compassion for people that were not her people. They go to this village, and she ends up meeting this person, and anyway, it's super sexist, so if you read it, just know that it was written in a different time, and sometimes it's hard to read, but also know that these stories are there to tell us something. They're not written in today's language, the way we would say it today, but they're written in such a way that it encourages us or to remind us that compassion and friendship and love is very important. I want to wrap up with this when we're talking about moms. For some of you, today is difficult. For some of you, you've had a strained relationship with your mother, and my life is no different. My mom and I, and she's probably watching this, love you, Mom, and we've had our ups and downs, like all relationships have. I want to take us back about 3 years ago. 3 years ago this month, here in a few weeks. And my wife and I had the opportunity to go to Italy with some friends of ours. And so, we get on a plane, it's, 10, 11 hours over to Italy. And we get there, and we get to our place, and it's beautiful, and it's wonderful. And as we were leaving, my mom had a sore on her leg and needed to go to the hospital. And so as we were leaving, and we're thinking, it's not that big a deal, but we're not going to be here. And so our kids went and spent some time with her. And I think the second or third day in, one of our kids had called us, and it had gotten so bad that she needed to be taken into emergency surgery to amputate. And it was way worse than everybody thought it was, even the doctors. Because initially they're like, we're just going to, we can get this cleaned up and taken care of. And so my kids called me, and I had a chance to talk with one of the doctors. And at the time, my mom's health wasn't doing great. And I got on the phone with him, and he said, I'm not sure how many of you worked with doctors before. Sometimes you have really compassionate doctors, and sometimes you have doctors that are just very matter-of-fact, okay? I had a matter-of-fact doctor, and as we were having conversations, he's like, listen, your mom's probably not going to make it through the surgery, but we don't have a choice. And I'm, 11 hours away from my mom. And so I received that information, and I called my mom, and I said, I'm sure you've talked to the doctor. She said, yep. And we had one of the most beautiful conversations that I've ever had with my mother. And we've had good times, we've had bad times, there's been up and downs. And to say that I was emotional is an understatement. Like, I needed a paper bag at one point. I was hyperventilating because I had to say goodbye to my mom because I thought I was going to lose her. And by the way, during surgery, I think she coded 3 times. They had to bring her back. And I had to say goodbye to my mom, and I was halfway across the world. I tell you that story because I got to tell my mom's still with us, by the way. She made it through surgery. She's still here. But I got to tell my mom while she was still alive how much I loved her, how much she meant to me, and that I know she loves me. In that instance, because I had to get it all out. I thought I was going to lose her. And it was in that moment that I realized, why do we wait until it's too late to do these things? We'd have, trust me, my mom and I have gone, anybody else do this with their mom? Ashley, don't say anything, your mom's sitting right there, okay? You ever do this with a mom? My encouragement today is whether it's your biological mother, whether it's somebody that means something special to you. I know Shelly has a special somebody that's come into her life because her special somebody is Brenda, and that's my mom's name as well. But as I was thinking about the sermon and celebrate the feminine and celebrate going inside and working through our stuff, what if we could share, right? We say Happy Mother's Day, but what if we could truly share with other people and those who are special? What if we could truly tell them what they mean to us? I've been so many funerals, and the amount of regret and things that people share in a funeral, and it doesn't trigger, that mechanism doesn't trigger in our psyche and our spirit until it's too late. And so today, my prayer for all of us, myself included, is that we can celebrate those people who are important to us, even if it's been a difficult relationship. That we can celebrate those who have come into our lives, that have helped us, that have taught us compassion, what it means to be a friend, who have taught us to love, who has taught us to gather our people around us like a hen gathers her chicks. And that's a very godly thing to do. And so my prayer for all of us today is that we can do that we can set aside our differences, that we can celebrate those with us. Now, if your mother or that person has passed, I still invite you to think about them, to celebrate, to even say or write or speak those words. I think it's very important to us. It's part of the healing process. I'm going to go ahead and invite the band to come back up. But in closing, we don't do a lot of liturgy here. Liturgy is a churchy way of saying, how many of you did call and responses like prayers growing up in church? Okay, some of you did. So we don't do that here often. We do it on occasion. We don't cite the Lord's Prayer every single week, but on occasion, there is some liturgy, right? It's just historic to who we are as Christians. And I'll have to do this. So this one, I'm going to invite everybody to stand. Standing opens up the pathways of our breath and of our blood flow. And if you want to put your hands up or out, that's fine. But there's a prayer that has, you'll see it there, it has a leader, and then it has community. I will do the leader portion, and I want you all to read on the words behind me. Brian, you can go ahead and put it up. Yeah, okay. So you guys come in on the community part, and this is kind of a prayer that I want all of us to say together on the community, but that I want us to be thinking of the person that we are thinking of. So, mothers come in many different forms, and today we celebrate them all. Everyone here is either a son or a daughter. For the mothers of the past, whom we miss dearly here on earth, who have joined God in heaven, we give you thanks. For the mothers of today, for every woman who is working day and night to raise their children right now.
May they feel your patience.
For the women who are expecting but aren't quite mothers yet.
May they experience your peace and their anticipation.
For the women who took others' children through adoption or through foster care.
May they see your compassion.
For the women who have lost a child to death and must carry on.
May they lean on your strength.
For all the women who have desperately wanted to have children of their own, but chose instead to mother everyone else.
May they be filled with your spirit and comfort.
For the women who may not have experienced that unconditional love of a mother.
Which has no bounds.
And then all of us together. We give thanks to God for the women who have influenced our lives in so many ways. May they be honored this day and every day.
So, when you were prompting us with mother, what's the mother that has no children but everybody knows? We all said, Teresa. Jeremy whispers in my ear, Goose? And I had to keep it together back there. Goose? Mother Goose rhymes are horrible. They're terrifying. My mother has passed away, so I know a lot of people are in the same boat, and sometimes this day is really hard. I have an amazing mother-in-law. She's incredible. I think the rule is that you're supposed to not like your mother-in-law. Is that right? Like, I think everyone's like, oh, my mother-in-law is terrible. And I'm like, sorry, mine's amazing. But Jeremy, will you stand up here by your mom? So we found this cute little song about mom. So if you're here with a special lady today, put your arm around her. If you're watching online, hold your mom or hold your special lady close while we sing for you. I bet you could have used a minute, just a little time alone. But you let me be your little shadow, following wherever you would go. Then I got a little older, you gave me space to grow. I don't ever seem to tell you enough, but I want you to know. When God made you my mother, He knew who I would need. When He picked you from the others, You give me strength to stand back up. No amount of miles could separate us. No place where I don't feel your love. You say I'm the gift that heaven gave you, but mama, I'm the lucky one. 'Cause when God made you my mother, he knew who I would need. When he picked you from the others, he could already see that you would be my hero and everything I wanna be. When God made you my mother, he was being good to me. If I'm ever a mother, I wanna be like you. If he picks me from the others, I'm gonna try to fill your shoes. 'Cause mama, you're my hero and everything I wanna be. When God made you my mother, he was being good to me. Yeah, he was being good to me.
Celebrate that. All right, go hang with family, celebrate our moms, and also let's have compassion for those who made this maybe a hard day and one that you struggle with. Go in peace. Amen.